Red-handed part 3, all other parts down below. Last night my wife had a bad night. When I came home her mother had wet herself completely and I am not allowed to change her, so I fed her dinner in her bed and did my best to clean up what I could. When my wife came home, she was stressed and having to deal with her mother. After, we had some time to talk, but I was already stressed from thinking all day and had to wake up early. Her mother kept asking her for a sweater, in summer heat, for no reason, and she wouldn't let up until finally my wife gave her a sweater that she wouldn't end up wearing. She said, "I need to be alone. I want to be alone." She closed the door to the room I was in and sat at her Mac. Around 12 a.m. I woke up and heard her typing away at the computer. I decided to wake up and check on her to see if she was okay. As soon as I came into the room, she went from Facebook to another page. I didn't quite catch it at first, but I think she was chatting with someone. I don't know who, but at the time I was feeling too tired. The next morning, this morning, I asked what time she had gone to bed and she said 2 a.m. I asked what she was doing until that time, in a non-invasive way, and she said, on the internet and watching TV. I did see her watch some TV at one time in the evening, but the sudden change in web pages when I entered the room didn't sit well with me for very long today. Not only that, but I'm pretty sure that the name she originally signed up with, a pet name I gave her and that everyone calls her, she changed to her real name. I'm not sure if that is meant to show up in the updates of people's profiles or not, but it's got me feeling like crap. I think she's also learned that leaving the cookies enabled allows me to sneak a peek on her Mac. I'm sure there are ways of finding out passwords. Please let me know if there are. Because trust is still an issue. I would ask her to see it as a matter of trust, but her PMS has just started and I'm going to try and get through that before saying anything that might complicate things. While the Facebook stuff has me on edge, and I felt like my stomach had developed multiple ulcers overthinking it. The day actually started somewhat well. I got up, initiated some hugging and kissing, got her talking a bit, and she said, "Love you," and was a little more receptive to my kiss on the lips this morning. I'm still feeling like crap though, and the only thing that takes off the edge is some alcohol on the way home from work. Not the healthiest way to end a day. I have every reason not to trust her at this time, and she has no reason to not trust me. I've done nothing, up until catching her, that would suggest that I was invading her privacy. If I find something that points to her wanting out, then I know now and I can get out before she does more damage to my heart, or perhaps shape things in a way so that she feels more guilty. Right now, I'm not impressed with her lack of openness, and so, I'm resorting to checking her Facebook. She has had nothing so far on Facebook, but thinking back a couple weeks ago she actually asked me, "Can you see my updates on Facebook?" I don't know why she asked, but she did, and now that is coming back to bite me in the back. Last night I went to bed a bit earlier. My wife passed out on the sofa, so I woke her up and brought her to bed. She had had some wine. I don't know how much of it was wine, how much was lack of sleep, but when I got her to bed, she wanted me next to her. First time in a long time. I said, "Love you," and she quickly replied the same, which was just a reflex response maybe, but I took it. By early morning I caught myself snoring. I knew she had to go in for her annual physical and I didn't want to mess with her sleep, so I spent a couple hours in the other room. About an hour before we had to be up, I was back in the bedroom. I started a little cuddling and I was now running against the clock since my 1 hour of rest time was up. I was now cutting my work prep time short. This time she had 1-0. This time it took longer for her to achieve. It's unusual that it would take that long unless she was tired or just not in the mood. When she did 0, I wasn't sure if I should do anything because I had work. She said, as I kissed her body and was contemplating what to do, "If you want to sleep together, you have to do it now. It's almost 8. And the attitude was one that was, "Can we get this done?" Or maybe she just was tired. I said, "No worries, you have a physical today." And she replied, "Then I feel bad." Meaning I started it and she got her 0, but I wasn't going to get mine and that it would somehow be her fault. I will admit my purple matter at this point had more control than my gray matter. I said, "Okay, I'll be fast." And I was. Unfortunately, fast also meant that I slipped out a couple times, to which she asked, "What's wrong?" I didn't answer. I was done pretty quick. As soon as it was over, she looked like she had just finished a chore. That got me down. She told me to take a shower first. She was taking a shower as I was leaving. I whispered into the shower, "Good luck at the hospital. Love you." And she said, "Love you," back. Sometimes I wonder if it's just reflex that she says it, because there are still times when I say it quite clearly and get no response. As she was showering, her voice seemed a little upbeat. But that's me overanalyzing things. On my way to work I was feeling fine. But the more I thought about it, the more I wish I had left the room and did a little something for myself in the shower. As some may know, I once tried to be spontaneous after work, and she said, "It feels like I have to sleep with her now. Like it's a job." I don't want her to see it like that. I want her to enjoy it. Of all the bonding we've had this month, this time really felt like she wasn't there, and she did it just because she felt like she had to. I don't know what kind of mood she is in, whether she's working after her physical or at home trying to relax. I will probably add more to this thread when I get home. I hate the ups and downs, and can't stand to think I'm just 4 weeks out from D-Day and still have so long to go before the images and feelings of being a zero go away. While I was working, my wife called and then emailed me. She asked, "What time are you coming home?" Up and down on this one. She's never asked me this, not for a long time anyways. First, she called, but I didn't answer, and then she texted me. I called her back about an hour later. She said, "I have something to explain." And for some reason I got it in my head that maybe she's pregnant, because when I asked if there was a problem, she said no. I just need to explain something. So, on my way home, to kill some of the pain, I decided to have a drink on the train, legal in this country. 10 minutes before arriving home, I got another text asking me to pick up some wine, which then pointed to her not being pregnant. When I got home, she explained that she couldn't have her physical done. Something about a date mixes up, on paper, which she showed me, but I have this bad feeling from the whole thing, like she was trying to convince me that she was not doing anything bad. She never emailed me during the entire time she wasn't at the hospital. So, I asked what she had done all day. Her response was nothing, just stay home and think. I want to believe her, but I can't entirely. Being Sunday, I can imagine the other man would have had the day off as well. While I have seen nothing as far as proof that she's seen the other man since D-Day, her Facebook activity has me a little on edge. However, on my way home, my eyes met another young lady's eyes, and for the first time in 9 years, I thought maybe I deserve better than this. Maybe I deserve someone who looks at me like this. Nothing further from a nice look happened. When I got home, she explained her day. We had some wine and talked. We watched some TV and she fell asleep. I brought her to bed, and now I'm here typing this. I would turn on her Mac if it weren't so close to the bedroom to see if anything is going on. But I almost feel like if something is, then screw it. Of course, they could be the alcohol and I could have some serious downtime tomorrow. I don't want to become an alcoholic, but so far this is the best pain reliever there is. One thing that I read was that in some cases the person who wants out of a marriage will cheat and want to get caught so that the other spouse will want the divorce, and the spouse who cheated doesn't feel as guilty for getting a divorce since it was the other person's idea. Yesterday, while talking with my wife, I brought up her getting caught, for the first time since it happened. I asked, "Didn't you think, in that moment, with me 3 floors up, what will he think? What will I tell him when I go back upstairs?" She couldn't give me a definite answer. I think partly because she doesn't want to hurt me anymore. The few weeks leading up to this encounter, she was secretive about her chat between her and the other man, but insists that it was never meant to get physical and never meant to be an emotional affair. She still doesn't understand what an emotional affair is. I would later read that no big decisions should be made right after you've heard or caught your spouse. I've read that you should take the time to rebuild what you've lost, communicate, understand, and that after a year, if you are still wanting a divorce, then at least you've spent that year learning more about yourself and what to expect in your next relationship. I still feel, and I could be wrong, that I'm putting in all the effort even though I'm not the one that cheated, that I'm working on this marriage, and that she's hiding behind her wall of "I need time to fix myself." In all the reading, I also came up on an article about midlife crisis, and in some ways, I wonder if that's what's going on with her. She's 40, going to be 41 in November, and she's looking at herself. No kids. A job she sees no future in. No house ownership. She's looking at the bad and not the good. Her PMS has her in an even worse mood. Is there anyone out there that has cheated because they wanted to get caught? If so, does this sound like it could be the case? She says she wants to work on our marriage, but that she still needs time to fix herself. I don't know what else I can do except wait in limbo as she decides what fixing she needs. She won't see a counselor or shrink too much money. Not enough time. I'm not sure if what she is going through is withdrawal. It may very well be. The email between her and the other man were not very bad, although I was unhappy that she was confiding in him. Someone who knows nothing about us, about our relationship issues, rather than going to someone who has real experience. I think it started off as an emotional affair for her by text messages. But the words used just aren't something I can point at and say, "Hey, see." The physical contact she had with him was on the one occasion that I caught them. I asked many of the gory details, and in our first conversations after catching her, asked if anything like this has happened before. Even a kiss with someone. Anything. She insists that there never was, and that what I caught her doing was the first and last time it would ever happen. She was upset with me at first that I had a conversation with the OM without her being present. She was back in our apartment, in and out of it because of alcohol, and I still do suspect something was slipped into her drink, or she is willing did some drugs but didn't want me to know about it. She said she wanted that conversation to happen between the three of us because what he was saying and what she says are different, and she feels like she was betrayed. When she used that word, I was flying off the handle in rage, because if anyone was betrayed, it was me. I don't think she meant for it to come out that way, but that's how I interpreted it and was angry. This was in the hours following me catching her. According to her, The email and text messages were supposed to be a lead-up into her asking him for advice on marriage. She says this was according to him talking about experiences in love. She says she never meant for it to get to that point, but that she accepts blame for letting it get that far. I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but a couple days ago my wife started talking about stuff and I asked her to open up about her feelings. I figured if she wasn't going to talk to a professional, she should talk to someone, and since she's ashamed to admit what she did to anyone she knows, I told her to go ahead and say what she feels to me. I wasn't expecting to hear some of what I heard, parts of our relationship that really bothered her. I didn't moan and groan. I kept a straight face and told her to keep on talking. However, at one point she started to contradict herself and her position on things. Perhaps a mistake on my part to ask her about it when I said I would listen. But then she asked me to explain. Then she insisted I explain. We got back to her cheating and how it's only been 4 weeks since D-Day and that I'm still hurting. I had work that day and was ready to cancel. She told me not to cancel. So, I went to work for a couple of hours. She sent me a text apologizing for making me feel bad before work. When I got home, she was preparing her mother's medicine for the week. I poured myself a glass of wine and got myself a supplement bar. Not hungry still. And felt the atmosphere was one where she just wanted to be left doing her own thing. But she said, I just want you to know that I didn't watch any TV or listen to any music. I'm also hurting. I backed up and moved into a chair across the table and asked her to keep talking. She kept talking. I know you're hurt, but I'm hurt too. My first instinct was, are you comparing my pain to yours? Really? But I held off on it, let her continue to talk, and she had tears in her eyes. I wondered what pain I must have caused, or if it was pain that was something. I did it all. She just said she was hurt too. I don't know exactly what. I didn't want to force it out of her, but I figured she was talking about my lifestyle. Being a powerlifter, diets and routines can be complicated to your average health enthusiast. She's never agreed with my diet and always thought it would cause health issues at some time in our life. I have regular blood work done, heart check, everything, and I'm fine. She doesn't think that those tests will be significant in 10 years. I always thought this was simply a difference of opinion, but she says that it was something that really pissed her off, since I now lack any interest in the gym and my usual diet. I've lost nearly 20 kgs. If this is what she means by being hurt, is this valid for her to bring up in your opinion? The opinion of the board members, I mean. The following day on her way to work, she apologized for acting the way she did the night before. She asked me to check out government housing for them. I did just that, but when I mentioned these places that night, she seemed uninterested and back in that place of I'm hurt too. I let her be, was there to listen if she wanted, but wasn't going to push for anything. So, do cheaters at some point start to blame their spouses for the A? At what point during the process do they start and then stop doing this? Is there something I should do if this comes up? So, what do I do when she tries to shift the blame to me for her pain? I've accepted responsibility for my part, but I don't feel as though she has accepted her part. I often see a no-contact rule for getting better and fixing marriages. My wife has it in her head that she needs to clear up some of the misinformation that the opus gave me about the lead up to the she feels betrayed, her own words. And I was very angry that she felt she needed to clear things up. I hate going through her mail, but in the end, if she wanted to contact the opus, she could do so with her telephone and text messaging. She could easily hide it as she works for the phone company and knows how to use the different features on the phones. Even if she did say, here, have a look, I wouldn't be able to find anything if she hid it somewhere. And trying to ride the storm out, her time of the month, before talking about bigger issues. I just don't like being blamed for a happening, even if her hormones are playing tricks on her. For the past week, as hard as I am trying, the idea that my wife is just biding her time to figure a way out of our marriage, although she says it's not, without hurting me and keeping her head above water financially, is something that I've been thinking. In order to get past that image, I feel like I have to replace it with a if I just met a person who liked me for me image. The images of me leaving my wife and my wife being miserable while I'm off being happy again. Sound cruel? It might be, but it seems like the only way to get past some of the pain on certain days. Today is definitely one of those days. I spent the day teaching kids and felt like my stomach was going to blow up. So, I sat myself down and thought of that scenario. And I felt just a little better. With that in mind, I have to wonder if my wife is also thinking the same thing. If she's thinking a man who can meet my needs in a way I don't get from him anymore will come along and take me away. Then I start feeling bad again. Up, down, up, down. She finished work about an hour ago. She should have been home already. A year ago, I would imagine her shift went late, or because it's Friday she had a drink with co-workers or something happened in work that needed her attention. But now I start to think she just doesn't want to come home either because I'm here or because she wants to be with someone somewhere else. I know I should be looking at ways to better myself. The person I am thinking of is imaginary, not real. I have trouble with this even. I think my wife is the most beautiful person I've met ever. Her personality around others is wonderful. Her character at home was wonderful as well, but that faded into something else. I feel like she's just with me now because she has no other options at hand. She says differently if I asked, Haven't asked in a long time, but that's how I feel. Any of the above activities just make me feel miserable. Meeting other people, I'm always wondering, because of the shattered trust. When she gets off work, is she going home? Or will she meet the OM knowing I'm out? She has promised no contact, but I can never be 100% these days. Even today. A rare time she has the day off on Saturday. She would normally send me email by this time, but she hasn't. I have no idea what her plans are for the day. It is rainy, which means no outside activities. The apartment is clean from top to bottom. If she were to meet the OM, I would have no clue. I have to take her word for it. I don't want to call and sound obsessed or email and seem obsessed. Yet I can't help but wonder what's happening. If she's just at home relaxing, I would have hoped for at least email. But then maybe I think I'm expecting too much too soon. 5 weeks out from D-Day, I still don't know that she fully understands my pain or my needs. I've addressed her concerns and made changes. I wish she could do the same to help with the healing process. So now I'm a month out from D-Day. I'm trying hard to understand what's going on in her head while trying to sort things out in my own head. Only on one day did I have an okay day all day long, until my MIL decided to make trouble. Trust is still an issue. My wife doesn't seem to get that since she's not accounting for time. I went through text messages I got from her prior to D-Day and found lots of "love you so much, sorry I didn't email you earlier. Thinking of you" kind of email. Nothing like that. I guess I shouldn't expect anything like that anytime soon. I still get the feeling she's looking for a way out, but that could be me overanalyzing everything. I do my best to put a confident face forward. I've taken on more housework, leaning out, but still having to deal with emotional roller coaster rides on the inside. My wife says she needs to fix herself before she can work on the marriage. How she plans to do that while working full-time, I don't know. All I can do is be patient and supportive. A lot of the marriage builder stuff is something she is not interested in. At least not now. No counseling available in this country, at least not marriage counseling. Every day is a struggle. I want to move out, but that can only be done if the two of us do it. I have done all the searching, all the apartment viewing. She hasn't. I don't know what she is waiting for. The scary thing for me is if she's just biding her time to find a good exit and all this effort I'm putting into finding us a new place is just her way of keep me occupied while she's really just figuring a way out financially. I am focused on her and I don't know how I can't be when I'm with her. We spend a little time together in the morning, and the time we do spend at home at night is all about winding down from work, drinking a glass of wine and being in bed with either enough time to get a good night's sleep, if she has an early shift, or enough time for her to go online and do her thing. Things get caught in my head. She used to always call me honey or say honey bunny. She asked me if it was okay that she used this with friends. An English question, since I guess some of her female friends have used it. She also mentioned that a male friend of ours calls her his freaky friend and that she feels the need to give him some kind of nickname. Not exactly what I wanted to hear. He lives in Australia and is my friend. However, I don't know how much email is being sent. I would ask her, but feel that I might regress whatever progress we may have made. If I ask him, it may turn into a rumor he asked me how much mail. I wonder if there's trouble. With all the time she apparently has to email all these friends, I wonder when I might start getting some of that email loving back. I'm taking guesstimates at what some of Love Busters might be, and I think I've done well so far, but it's hard to know when it's just me. I wish it were US working on things now. Patience. ETA, I am on the carrot and stick part. I'm doing my best to better myself and trying hard to make life easier for my wife at home. I have a feeling that a little love letter or gesture of this type will come off bad. I do, however, make sure she knows that her favorite wine is at home and ready for her. She loves wine. I bought her a new wine glass a few weeks back. I broke her other one on the day I caught her, and her reaction was, "This is not," insert brand name, "but it will do for now." It was that reaction that I didn't want, but I guess I can't win them all. I need to really focus on my feelings and getting past the hurt. It's still there, and right now, all I can think that will keep it from hurting is for her to do a 180 and come running back at me. But I don't see that happening. I think too much during the day. My boss knows I'm having a hard time at home. I have 3 friends right now that I can talk to about this. They all have different schedules and their own lives and different ways of looking at the situation. When I talk about it, I feel better, but I still have deep trust issues that I can't get over. Not 1 month in, since she has asked for time again, I have done what I can to give it to her. Not asking about babies, not asking about our marriage, good bad, but just talking. Yes, we should get out. I wish it were that easy. I have found that listening to her, even when she's complaining about something or being negative about something, to not disagree with her but to just listen is something that works. She goes to bed or to work not in a bad mood. I guess it's hard to be mad at someone when they are not arguing against you, good bad. She talks about how by Christmas time I will be able to take you shopping. So, in some ways she is thinking ahead, to the future, and I seem to be there. But as is my problem now with emotions and reading too much into things, I wonder if this is simply a distraction so that she can make plans to exit. As it is now, financially she can't make it on her own, not with her mother. It may seem harsh, but with all the pain her mother has caused, I wonder if my wife sometimes feels that I just have to wait until she's dead. Then I can worry about me and leave. In the past I've felt I wonder when she'll be dead so we can finally have peace in the house. Not something you want to be feeling. I don't know if anybody has ever taken care of a parent who causes so much trouble. I have never told my wife this. I don't want her feeling any worse than she already does when it comes to caring for her mother. Forgive me if I seem a bit confused. I'm dealing with so much emotional turmoil. I understand that what she did was cheat. She got physical and emotional emails with this guy. When he turned on her blaming her, she felt betrayed. Since trust is now an issue, I would say I'm 90% sure she's not going to him anymore. The other 10% is because of the secrets she had for the 1 month. It was an emotional affair that turned physical, if only for 10 minutes. She accepted blame and said she had no excuse to let it get that far. In 2019 I was feeling like my wife wasn't putting forward her best with me, and I would say then that I had an EA. Does this mean emotional affair or extramarital affair? Or both? I saw young ladies I worked with and they would flirt, and I liked it. I suppose I'm guilty then as well. That hasn't happened for some time now, but now I feel really bad for my actions. As far as following her around, I never did anything like this in the past. In fact, on her last birthday, after drinking for several hours with friends, we decided to go home. One friend wanted to continue at a club, but I wasn't up for it. I told my wife to go ahead and asked the one friend to make sure she takes a taxi home. She went out and had a good time. I would never have thought she would do anything, so I was never the jealous, shadowing type of person. In fact, at certain events where I was sitting not so close to my wife, guys on one side, ladies on the other. Some men who didn't know we were in a relationship would start talking with her and think I think this girl digs me, only later to find out that we are a couple and apologizing to me for saying what they say. My wife always said, I don't know why, I was just being nice. For the past couple of weeks, I'm so focused on the inside, guessing where this is all going. I either want to be alone and sleep or drink alcohol to numb the pain. I analyze everything to an extent where you are right. I think worst case scenario and go with those feelings. Is this just me? I do try to not think about it and focus on me, but it's very hard. I don't know if it's because I'm still just a month out from D-Day or if it's just the person I am. I don't let on to my wife that this is how I'm feeling. I don't want her to lose respect and see me as begging her for answers. Although I wish she would throw her arms around me and proclaim her love to me. That's key too, right? If I start with the 7 steps, the only evidence I will be able to get that I don't have access to that might have more information is in her telephone. I think I'm on carrot and stick. I'm trying to figure out her love busters. I haven't been overbearing, pleading for her undying attention, mailing her every chance I get, calling her to make sure she's home or doing this and not that. I am doing my best to give her space, but to also know that I'm around. She smiles when she sees I've dropped more weight. She's happy to come home to wine without worrying about doing other work. We talk, something she has said she missed doing, and we do this for a good 2 hours. She talks. I listen mostly. She keeps it on the subjects she likes, and I'm learning new things about her, which is nice. I try to show her affection, compliment her without over-complimenting her. I try to be engaging, confident, and strong. On the inside it's a different story though, and it really depends on the day. Whether we got to cuddle in the morning. If she has a day off and I don't, that's my hardest thing right now, her being at home able to do what she wants while I'm at work. Today, I came home a bit earlier to change into some drier clothes. When I came home, she had just finished taking a shower, which means she was relaxing most of the morning. I did notice a Facebook page open when I walked in and closed by the time I was back in that room. I saw the picture she was looking at clearly, and it was of 2 female friends. Not sure why she'd want to hide it. Which makes me think maybe that page was in the way of the music page. See? Reaction. Overreaction. Got work on this. The method in which you say I can bring up issues, such as the evening we will be at the nightclub. I really don't know how to word it well enough that I have any confidence in sitting down with her and not feeling scared she'll take it the wrong way. Her first language is not English, although she speaks it very well. She may interpret it as controlling, and that's not what I want to do. I didn't before the E, but I did try to figure things out after because trust was gone. Today she had the day off. We made plans to go out to a party after a wedding. We spent a good 4 hours away from home and talking with all kinds of people. There were visitors from Australia there, and all the couples were holding hands, something I miss now. I tried putting my arm around my wife and she didn't reject it. It was a great evening, but tomorrow, Sunday, I have to work and she'll be at home. I will wake up, go through my new routine of cuddling and making small talk, deep discussions or evening time. I'd love to know what she could possibly be getting from another person. The only thing I can think of is perhaps some excitement. That's what it was with the first EA, excitement you get with the start of a new honeymoon phase. Once that phase is gone and you want your old hubby back, he might not be around. Some days, even if I know my wife is not doing anything bad, I do feel like my head is spinning around with emotion and creating scenarios. I'm better myself by cleaning more, etc. Whether my wife thinks of this as a bonus for her or not. I should have been doing this long ago anyways. I want my happiness to be important to her. She certainly isn't as remorseful as I would expect, and I think that has a lot to do with how I treated her. Let's forget this and move on. I am depressed thinking that I'm not as important to her as I used to be. That's how I feel, she says different. On one occasion she said, I'm not making you happy or my mother happy. How can I be a good person? How can I be a good wife? And by the tone it sounded as if that was a rhetorical question. I don't see myself as up her ass as much as I'm doing things I should have done long ago. Leaving is scary. I'm trying my best to be patient and deal with each situation each day with confidence. Because we had such a nice time last night today, I feel okay. I'm not thinking too much, but I will be looking at step 1 again and gather evidence of a possible EA in progress, something emotional. She saw the hurt she caused and how shameful it was for her to have that EA turn physical. I don't think my wife understands emotional affairs. I will speak with her when I have evidence. My comment, without giving too much spoiler, you guys will want to listen to the final ending of this OP because you will learn what are the consequences of doing nothing. See you in part 4.